This is William, a retired soldier whose wife is battling cancer. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough money for her treatment. He tries claiming insurance, but it doesn't work out. William tells his wife he's going for a job interview, but instead, he heads to his cousin Danny for help. Danny is involved in shady activities, running a den full of expensive cars. When Will arrives, Danny's associate Bablu directs him inside and warns him not to touch anything. Danny, who was adopted into the same family as Will, has always loved his brother. Despite Danny's affection, Will is more straight-laced. When Danny sees Will, he immediately knows something is wrong. Will explains that he needs $231,000 for experimental surgery for his wife, which isn't covered by insurance. Danny offers him an alternative: join him on a bank heist. Though hesitant, Will refuses, saying he only came for a loan or small job, not a robbery. Danny insists it's a foolproof plan, claiming he's robbed many banks without getting caught. Desperate, Will eventually agrees to join the crew. Meanwhile, we meet Officer Jack and Mark, two cops on duty. Jack has a crush on a woman named Kim, who works at the bank Danny's crew is targeting. The robbers arrive at LA Federal Bank in a truck and park in the garage. As they move inside, a suspicious bystander alerts the police, confirming the robbery. Captain Monroe is notified, and officers begin surrounding the area. The situation escalates when Jack enters the bank under the pretense of opening an account with Kim. Jack uses this opportunity to ask Kim out on a date, but grows suspicious when he notices something off. Danny pulls a gun on him, threatening to kill everyone if he tries anything. The crew begins loading cash into their bags while the police wait outside, tracking their movements using a tracker hidden in the robbers' getaway vehicle. The heist takes a chaotic turn when Officer Mark spots the robbers. A shootout erupts, ruining the plan. Danny and Will drag Jack into the parking lot, trying to escape. As the police close in, the robbers realize they're surrounded by over 500 officers. Danny insists they avoid fighting and focus on escaping. During the chaos, Cam and Scott, who work as ambulance paramedics, hear about the situation and rush to the scene. In the parking lot, Jack attacks Danny and attempts to shoot him, but Will intervenes, shooting Jack in the leg. Danny chastises Will, saying things wouldn't have escalated if Jack had cooperated. Despite the disagreement, they try to move forward. The police secure the building, and Mark, worried about his partner Jack, calls for an ambulance to enter the parking lot. The situation continues to spiral as the robbers try to make their escape amid the growing chaos. Danny and Will find themselves trapped in a high-stakes situation as they desperately try to evade capture. Meanwhile, an ambulance arrives in the parking lot to pick up the injured Officer Jack. Cam and Scott take charge, placing Jack inside and beginning his treatment. Danny spots the ambulance and immediately takes action. Armed with his gun, he forces Scott out of the driver's seat and instructs Will to disguise himself by wearing a paramedic's jacket. Danny positions himself at the back of the ambulance and orders Cam to cooperate, warning her to handle any police interference. As they drive out of the parking lot, the police stop them for inspection. Will convincingly explains that an officer's life is at stake, and they must reach the hospital immediately. The officers check the ambulance, and Cam supports the story by showing Jack's injuries. The police allow them to leave, and the group successfully escapes the building. Danny celebrates stealing $16 million, indifferent to the loss of his 5 partners. Meanwhile, Officer Mark finds Scott in the parking lot and learns about the hijacked ambulance. Mark alerts the police, ordering them to stop the vehicle and rescue his partner Jack. In the ambulance, Danny warns Cam not to make any clever moves, asserting his control over the situation. As Captain Monroe assesses the aftermath of the robbery, FBI agent Anson Clark takes charge of the case. He coordinates with the LAPD, who now have helicopters and special teams, including a hacking expert named Lieutenant D. Zach on the scene. With the ambulance under constant surveillance, Will takes evasive action, weaving through alleys to escape detection. The relentless pursuit intensifies as police cars and helicopters follow them. Despite the chaos, Cam insists on tending to Jack's worsening condition. Danny reluctantly attempts to assist, but grows frustrated when he cannot figure out what to do. Tensions rise as Will voices concerns about their situation, noting they've escalated from robbers to kidnappers. Danny, meanwhile, contacts his friend Pepe, offering half of the stolen $16 million in exchange for a diversion to throw the police off their trail. Pepe agrees, seeing an opportunity to solve his own financial problems with the mafia. As their options dwindle and the police close in, Danny calls another contact, Bablu Jamila, in a desperate bid to create a distraction and ensure their escape. Danny quickly gives instructions to Bablu Jamila, sending him an address and demanding he arrive immediately with blue spray paint. Bablu, initially hesitant, protests, saying he's in the middle of a match. Danny angrily responds, "Idiot, leave the match and get here now." Meanwhile, Captain Monroe orders the police to converge on the Staples Center, where the ambulance is heading. Inside the ambulance, Officer Jack's walkie-talkie is still active, allowing Danny and the group to eavesdrop on police communications. Danny uses this to send a chilling message: remove your cars and helicopters or your partner's life will be at risk. As police cars close in from all directions, Will maneuvers the ambulance at high speed to evade them. Officer Mark, following closely behind, takes aim to stop the ambulance. Just as he's about to shoot, Cam intervenes, shoving Danny, which causes him to miss. Tragically, the stray bullet hits Jack instead. Will, desperate to escape, drives the ambulance into a nearby building, with the police in hot pursuit. Danny, now on edge, steps out of the ambulance, gun in hand, and warns the police to back off. He fires at Mark's car, only for Mark to realize the captain's beloved dog is inside. When Captain Monroe learns this, he orders all units to halt, prioritizing the dog's safety over the pursuit. However, the FBI agent Anson Clark arrives on the scene. Monroe initially dismisses him, asserting, "I've handled cases like this before." Clark counters, revealing his extensive knowledge of Danny Sharp. Danny's been robbing banks since he was 17. His father, a former lieutenant, was a notorious bank robber in the 90s. "Danny could have killed your officer at the bank but didn't. I know his tricks. He used to be my friend." Reluctantly, Monroe allows Clark to join the operation. Bablu Jamila finally reaches the designated spot, ready to execute his part of Danny's plan. On the way, Clark shares more insights, revealing that Danny even studied criminology during his university years, an idea planted by his father to understand law enforcement's mindset. Danny has robbed 37 banks in the last decade without ever being caught, Clark states grimly. Back in the ambulance, Cam struggles with Jack's worsening condition. She tells Danny, "I can't handle this. He needs a doctor." Danny, ever resourceful, instructs her to call a doctor and demand assistance. When the doctor answers, Cam explains the dire situation, saying, "A patient has been shot and I'm in the same ambulance that's been hijacked." Danny grabs the phone, issuing a direct threat, "Doctor, if you don't help, I'll kill him." 2 additional doctors join the call, guiding them through surgery remotely via video. Realizing the severity of the situation, Will tells Danny to take over driving. "I'll handle this. I've done it before." In the speeding ambulance, Officer Jack's surgery was underway when Clark called Danny, urging him to stop the ambulance. Danny dismissed him, mocking their lack of love for each other, and hung up. The surgery continued until the laptop assisting them powered off due to a low battery. Meanwhile, Pepe's son Roberto called Danny, hinting at testing their new experiment. Danny sternly reminded him they were trying to survive, not kill anyone. Back at the police station, the captain consulted a doctor, who believed Jack's chances were slim. Furious, the captain vowed to make Danny pay. Taking over the steering, Will pushed towards the bridge, but chaos ensued when Captain Monroe deployed snipers. Clark, intercepting the plan, called Officer Jack's phone, warning Cam about the snipers. Cam shouted, and Will zigzagged the ambulance to throw off the shooters. Danny, enraged, fired a warning shot to prove he wasn't bluffing. Roberto arrived with an ambulance, and their team quickly sprayed the vehicle green instead of blue. Despite the blunder, Danny paid Bablu Jamila $10,000 for his efforts. They dispatched 6 ambulances to confuse the police. Among them, Roberto planted a bomb in one ambulance, detonating it to create a massive diversion. Roberto's actions led to his capture by Mark, who accidentally shot and killed him. This infuriated Pepe, Roberto's father. Meanwhile, Will and Danny outmaneuvered the police and reached Pepe's hideout. Learning of Roberto's death, tensions rose. Danny offered Pepe $8 million as consolation, but Pepe planned to kill them. Inside the ambulance, Jack regained consciousness. Cam informed him of their kidnapping and revealed Will's help. Jack handed her his gun for protection. Peppy demanded Will and Danny leave without Jack and Cam, but Danny refused. A shootout erupted, with Danny killing Peepee and his men to protect his brother Will. During the escape, chaos unfolded. Will accidentally shot Danny while defending himself. Determined to save his brother, Danny commandeered the ambulance, racing towards the hospital despite the police closing in. At the hospital, the ambulance was surrounded. Clark urged Danny to surrender, but Danny saw a gun and suspected the police had killed Will. Cam clarified she accidentally shot Danny. Enraged, Danny took Cam hostage and stepped out of the ambulance. In a shocking twist, Will shot Danny to end the chaos. Cam testified to Clark that Will had saved them all, ensuring he wouldn't be punished. Jack also vouched for Will, calling him a hero. As Will and Jack were treated in the hospital, Cam secretly kept some money for her ailing daughter. With that, the story concluded. If you enjoyed this thrilling recap, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories. See you soon with another adventure. Until then, bye.